So that's video of the moment a New Albany man set a dumpster on fire, trying to keep himself warm as those temperatures outside dropped. Well, that fire led to an explosion. It happened on the corner of 15th and Spring Street yesterday morning. That blast was so loud, it woke up several people who live nearby. WHAS11's Connor Stephan and photojournalist Addie Hill report.
The scene father of four, Stephen Miller, woke up to in New Albany.
Our fence is on fire. I see neighbors coming out.
Is singed into his memory now.
And we didn't know what happened. We didn't know where it was.
It all started around 6 Wednesday morning with a sound loud enough to wake up the whole house.
It was loud. It hurt our ears. It shook the whole house.
The explosion caught on Miller's backyard camera. He says neighbors help him put it out before first responders get there.
And I just see flames.
Take a look outside in his backyard by Wednesday afternoon.
Kids have a little play kitchen back there. It had been on fire and melted down.
You see the remnants of that fire. But to call it a tragedy.
And I told him, I said, I'm not really worried about my fence. I'm not worried about my kids' toys.
Would be looking at it the wrong way.
I think the tragedy of the whole situation is that there was somebody sleeping outside last night. Most of us were in our beds, it was warm, and somebody was just trying to warm themselves. And I just thank God that he wasn't near the dumpster when it exploded.
Another person struggling to find housing, looking for heat anywhere they can find it. A similar story played out underneath this I-64 overpass about a month ago in Louisville, except the encampment fire here cost a man his life.
These people are humans, and they're not talked about like they're human. Yeah. It's a problem.
It's an issue bringing Miller to tears, one he says he's thought about more and more lately.
If a concerted effort, if our energy, our intelligence, our resources were pooled, we could make a huge difference in this town.
He hopes his backyard fire can serve as a greater call to action in the community.
And I'm convinced that the majority of the people in our town want to help the most vulnerable in our community.
Call it a rude awakening or a great awakening. Steve Miller says what happened to him Wednesday morning will stick with him. He just hopes others feel the same. Connor Stephan, WHAS11 on your side.
It's important to note anytime the wind chill drops below 35 degrees, many shelters will fly a white flag. Now that signals that the shelter is open for anyone to come inside. In New Albany, the shelter is at the Culbertson Baptist Church on Grant Line Road. In Louisville, both the Wayside Christian Mission and East Jefferson and the Salvation Army on Brook Street are white flag shelters. The Louisville Metro Police Department has confirmed the death of one of its officers. Officer Mark Cordes suffered a medical emergency while off duty. The LMPD says last night a police escort transported Cordes from Bullitt County to Baptist East Hospital. Cordes started working with the department back in 1991 and stayed until he retired. He was then rehired in 2017 and worked in LMPD's 5th Division. Funeral arrangements have not yet been announced. There have been more than 400 non-fatal shootings this year in Louisville. 97% of those survivors go to U of L Hospital. WHAS11's Alexis Jones took the rare opportunity to talk with some of the lifesavers about their roles helping people through their scariest moments.
While Louisville saw a drop in the number of shootings this year, community health workers at U of L say one is still too many.
The impact that one patient can have on a whole community is very detrimental.
Kiara James works closely with victims as a part of U of L Health's Violence Intervention Program. Since 2018, she's connected hundreds to resources to help them overcome their trauma.
So some of that looks like providing mental health support services, and then we're able to refer out to our community partners so that they can provide more support, whether that is housing insecurities, whether that is mitigating any type of retaliation that may come about.
According to LMPD's gun violence dashboard, LMPD investigated 406 non-fatal shootings this year. Though that's less than 2022, that's more than double the number of homicides in 2023. Despite the citywide concern for homicides, James says non-fatal shootings are just as life-altering. Gun violence not only impacts a victim's mental and physical health, but their families' well-being as well.
As we know, when you're in the hospital, the world doesn't stop. Family members also bear that burden too.
Thankfully, James says her team will continue their mission into the new year inside U of L's Trauma Center, where their healing begins. In Louisville, Alexis Jones, WHAS11 on your side.
And according to U of L Health, the Violence Intervention Program has seen a lot of growth over the last years. When the program first began, only 5% of patients accepted services, and as of today, the number of patients has grown to 60%. Indiana state lawmakers are proposing a new bill that would require the safe storage of guns. State Representative Mitch Gore is behind the proposal. He says if he crafted it after a 5-year-old fatally shot his 4-year-old sister by accident outside of Indianapolis. If the proposal were to become law, it would be a crime for a gun not to be safely locked up, especially if there's a child in the home. Gore has unsuccessfully proposed similar legislation twice. Traffic is moving again after yesterday's 7-hour shutdown of a portion of Interstate 64 West. This early morning fire was the cause that you're seeing. Some of the flames even reached the interstate overpass, and as you can see, it caused a lot of damage. WHAS11's Jim Stratman and photojournalist Jessica Farley report.
This video from the Louisville Fire Department shows the large fire at 16th and Northwestern Parkway, and you can see the flames reaching all the way up and over to I-64 West. A viewer shared this picture as she was driving along the interstate as fire rose above the side railing. Fire crews took nearly an hour to knock down the flames ripping through this abandoned building. They said that they fought another fire at this same building around Derby time. Now, that building is rubble, but concern remained throughout most of the morning. You can see inspectors from the Kentucky Transportation Cabinet on scene investigating the interstate to make sure that it hadn't undergone serious damage from the fire. Our Sky 11 drone giving us a closer look at the process. Those engineers telling me that they needed to work through that black soot covering parts of the overpass to make sure that everything was structurally sound. Around 11:30, crews gave the all clear to open up the interstate again. Officials with KYTC said that the bridge sustained minor heat damage to a beam and pad that connected a redundant column, but the bridge itself was structurally sound and the fire didn't affect the load rating of the bridge. KYTC said that those repairs to the heat damage will happen a little bit later on, but they did not give me an exact date. Reporting in Louisville, Jim Stratman, WHAS 11, on your side.
And there were no injuries reported. Louisville fire investigators are still working to determine the cause.